I thought my boyfriend was the one, until he humiliated me in front of our friends, dumped me over text like I was a bad habit, and moved on so fast it made my head spin. I hit rock bottom, but guess what? Rock bottom makes for a damn good launching pad. When he came crawling back, I had something way better waiting for me, and it sure as hell wasn't him. You know that feeling when life seems almost too good? Like everything is going suspiciously perfect, and you should probably brace for impact? Yeah, I didn't. I was too busy being stupidly in love with Ethan, my boyfriend of 2 years, the guy I genuinely thought I'd marry. I was that girl. The one who planned cute anniversary dinners, who wrote little have a good day baby notes, who posted sappy Instagram captions with inside jokes only he and I understood. I wasn't delusional, okay? Maybe a little, but I had no reason to suspect the rug was about to be ripped out from under me. Ethan was the kind of guy everyone liked. Tall, easygoing, with that laid-back confidence that made people hang on his every word. He wasn't overly affectionate in public, but he made up for it when we were alone, or at least he used to. I should have noticed when the I love you started sounding more like muscle memory than genuine feeling, or when our date nights got replaced with him grabbing drinks with the guys. But I was comfortable. And comfort, my dear friends, is a trap. The first real crack in our perfect relationship came out of all places, my birthday dinner. I had planned it weeks in advance. Booked a table at a nice rooftop restaurant, picked out a dress that made me feel like a goddamn goddess, and invited our closest friends for what was supposed to be a great night. Ethan showed up late. Not traffic was bad, late more like I forgot I had somewhere to be late. And when he finally arrived, he looked bored, like I had dragged him away from something better. I should have known the night was doomed when he didn't even compliment my dress. Instead, he slumped into the seat next to me, barely acknowledged the people at the table, and immediately pulled out his phone. The man didn't even look up when the waiter came to take our drink orders. I laughed it off because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You make excuses. Oh, he's just tired, I told myself. He had a long day. But then, halfway through dinner, while everyone was laughing and clinking glasses, my best friend Sophie playfully nudged Ethan and said, "Hey, you better treat our girl right. She's a catch." I was expecting some flirty, of course. She's the best kind of response. Maybe even a hand squeeze under the table. You know, boyfriend things. Instead, he smirked and said, "Yeah, well, I guess everyone has their flaws." The table went dead silent. I felt my stomach drop, but I forced out a laugh. Wow, okay, don't all compliment me at once. Sophie shot me a look like, "Girl, what the hell was that?" Ethan just grinned like he hadn't just sucker punched my self-esteem in front of all our friends. He took a sip of his beer, completely unfazed, and because I was an idiot in love, I let it slide. That was my first mistake. It got worse. A week later, he started canceling plans. Not with an apology, but with half-assed excuses. "Babe, I'm just slammed with work. I'm so exhausted. Can we just chill another time?" Ugh, I need a night to myself. Alone time? Sure. Everyone needs it. But when your boyfriend suddenly prefers staring at his ceiling over seeing you, that's not alone time, that's avoidance. Then came the texting drought. Before, we used to talk all day. Now, I was lucky to get a "what's up" before he disappeared for hours. And when I'd call, straight to voicemail. Now, a smarter woman, one with self-respect, would have seen the signs and dipped. But me? I was still holding on to this picture-perfect version of Ethan. The one who used to pull me into his lap and kiss my forehead for no reason. The one who held my hand while we watched dumb horror movies. That Ethan was gone. I just wasn't ready to admit it yet. And then came the final blow. I was at Sophie's apartment, stress eating an alarming amount of fries when she dropped the bomb. "Babe, I need to tell you something, and you're gonna hate me for it." My heart started hammering. "What?" She hesitated, then sighed. "I saw Ethan at a bar last night." "Okay, fine. Not a crime. With a girl." My stomach clenched. "Who?" "I don't know, but they were very cozy, like hand on her thigh, whispering in her ear cozy." I felt my world tilt. "Are you sure?" Sophie gave me a "do I look like I would joke about this" face. I could feel the heat rising in my chest, a sick mix of anger and humiliation. I wasn't the type to start drama over rumors, but Sophie wouldn't lie. So I did the stupidest thing possible. I called him. And big shocker, he didn't pick up. But this time I wasn't letting it slide. So I texted him. "Mihei, we need to talk. Call me when you get this." An hour passed, no response. 3 hours, still nothing. By midnight, I got my answer in the worst way possible. Ethan, me boyfriend, the man I had spent 2 years loving, posted an Instagram story. And guess who was in it? Him. In a club. With a girl on his lap, laughing, like I never even existed. I wish I could tell you I reacted with dignity, that I saw Ethan's Instagram story, took a deep breath, and decided he wasn't worth my energy. But no, that's not what happened. Instead, I stared at my phone, my pulse hammering so hard I could feel it in my teeth. My brain short-circuited. This couldn't be real. There was no way the same guy who once made me a playlist called Songs That Remind Me of You was now broadcasting his imma-cheating trash bag moment for all 300 of his followers to see. My hands were shaking as I tapped the story again, like maybe I'd hallucinated it. But no, there he was, in full high-definition betrayal, grinning like he didn't have a girlfriend. I called him. Again. Straight to voicemail. That was the moment my heartbreak officially switched to rage. I shot off a text, "Me, Ethan. Are you serious?" No response. I sent another, "Me. I saw your story. Call me. Now." Still nothing. That's when I knew I wasn't his girlfriend anymore. I was a loose end he hadn't bothered to tie up. The next day, I woke up feeling like my insides had been scraped out with a spoon. Sleep had been a joke, my body was exhausted, but my mind had been replaying every moment of our relationship, trying to pinpoint where I went wrong. I checked my phone the second I opened my eyes. No missed calls, no texts. Ethan had ghosted me after 2 years. 2 freaking years. The only reason I found out I was single was because he couldn't resist posting his new situationship on Instagram. If there was ever a time for a dramatic, revenge-fueled breakdown, this was it. Instead, I did something worse. I convinced myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe the girl was just a friend, and I was jumping to conclusions. Sophie, being the supportive best friend she is, had no patience for my denial. "Babe, I love you," she said, snatching my phone out of my hand. "But if you text him one more time, I will physically remove your thumbs." I groaned, burying my face in her couch cushions. "I just need closure." "No, you don't. You need self-respect." She wasn't wrong. But self-respect wasn't exactly my strong suit at that moment. So naturally, I did the dumbest thing possible. I went to find him. It was a Saturday night. I knew exactly where he'd be. Ethan was a creature of habit every weekend. He and his friends posted up at the Hangar, a bar that tried way too hard to be a nightclub. I dragged Sophie with me, despite her insistence that this was a horrible idea. "I just need to see him," I lied. "I'm not going to cause a scene." Spoiler, I absolutely caused a scene. The second I walked in, my stomach lurched. Ethan was right there, standing by the bar with his arm slung lazily around her. The girl from the Instagram story. She was blonde, wearing one of those slinky little dresses that barely existed. And he looked happy. Not guilty. Not nervous. Just happy. Like I hadn't spent the past 48 hours crying into a family-sized bag of Doritos. The rational part of me told me to turn around, to leave with whatever dignity I had left. But I was not feeling rational. So I walked straight up to him. "Ethan." My voice was steady, but my heart was practically about to punch through my ribs. He turned, blinking like he had just seen a ghost. Hey." "Hey?" That's all he had? Not, "I'm sorry"? Not, "I messed up"? Just, "Hey?" I almost laughed. Almost. "Are you serious right now?" I asked. "This is how I find out we're over?" Ethan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck like I was the one making things difficult. "Look, I didn't know how to tell you." "Oh, I don't know. Maybe with words?" He had the audacity to look annoyed. "Come on. Don't do this here," he muttered, casting a quick glance at the blonde, who was pretending not to eavesdrop, but was clearly hanging on every word. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I making this inconvenient for you?" Ethan clenched his jaw. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this." That was it. That was all he had to say for himself. I felt something snap inside me. "Cool," I said, my voice deceptively calm. "Good to know 2 years meant nothing to you." And then, before I could do something truly regrettable like throw my drink in his face, I turned and walked out. Sophie was right behind me, but I barely heard her. My pulse was roaring in my ears. I had never felt so small in my entire life. But that was about to change. Because if Ethan thought I was just going to cry into my pillow and let him get away with this, he had another thing coming. I'd love to tell you I woke up the next morning feeling empowered, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. But nah, I woke up with a puffy face from crying, a headache from stress, and the crushing realization that I had to rebuild my entire sense of self. Ethan had been my person, the one I planned a future with. And now he was just some guy who had discarded me like a used napkin and moved on instantly. The humiliation of it all settled into my bones. It wasn't just the breakup, it was how he did it. Like I was an afterthought, like I hadn't even mattered. That was the part that stung the most. Sophie, being the best friend that she is, refused to let me wallow for too long. She showed up at my apartment that afternoon with a massive iced coffee and a mission. "Okay," she said, clapping her hands together. "You have exactly 1 more day to cry about this before we start your official revenge glow-up." I blinked at her. "My what?" She grinned. "Babe, you don't get it yet, but you will. We are about to turn this heartbreak into the hottest, most successful version of you that has ever existed." I snorted. "Sophie, I look like I just crawled out of a sewer." She waved a hand. "Temporary. By the time I'm done with you, Ethan is going to wish he went blind before seeing what he lost." The first thing I did was vanish. Off social media. Off group chats. Off Ethan's radar completely. No petty posts, no sad girl Instagram captions, no liking his photos to prove I was unbothered. I went dark. Because you know what's more unsettling than a bitter ex? An ex who doesn't react. Ethan was expecting me to spiral, to send paragraphs, to show up crying at his doorstep like some pathetic rom-com cliche. Instead, I disappeared, and it worked. 3 days into my radio silence, he texted me. "Ethan, hey, you okay?" I stared at my screen, my heart hammering. Sophie, who had been lounging next to me with a face mask on, peeked over my shoulder. "Oh, hell no," she said, snatching my phone. "We do not respond to weak-ass breadcrumbs." She deleted the message before I could think twice. And just like that, I felt something shift. Ethan no longer had access to me. And the power? It was mine again. The next phase of my glow-up blueprint was brutal. Sophie put me on what she called a breakup boot camp. Day 1? A haircut. Nothing drastic, I told the stylist, clutching the ends of my hair like they were a security blanket. Sophie immediately shut that down. No. Chop that trauma off. So I did. And let me tell you, nothing screams new era like watching inches of dead weight hit the salon floor. Next, the gym arc. I wasn't about to become some crazy fitness influencer, but I was damn sure gonna sweat out the sadness. Every morning, Sophie dragged me to the gym, blasting a playlist called Hot Girl Revenge Mode. I ran. I lifted. I boxed. Okay, fine, I attempted to box. I mostly just punched air dramatically. But the point? I wasn't exercising out of self-hatred. I was doing it to reclaim my body, my confidence, myself. By week 2, I didn't recognize the girl in the mirror. She had clearer skin, stronger legs, a sharper jawline, and, most importantly, no desire to text Ethan back. Once I was mentally and physically back in the game, Sophie gave me the final mission, the soft launch of the new me. And, oh, did we execute it flawlessly. We started with Instagram. Not a dramatic look at me thriving thirst trap. No, that's what Ethan would expect. Instead, a casual, effortless mirror selfie, new haircut, glowing skin, a touch of lip gloss captioned with something vague and unbothered. Good things coming. Within minutes, my DMs exploded, including one from Ethan. Ethan texted, "Damn, you look good." I grinned. Sophie, peering over my shoulder, smirked, and just like that, the rat takes the bait. But I wasn't biting, because the real revenge, it wasn't looking good. It wasn't even making him jealous. It was finally realizing I didn't want him anymore. The thing is, she was right. By the time Ethan slid into my DMs, something inside me had already shifted. At the start of this whole mess, I would have killed for him to text me, to show a sliver of regret, to realize he had made a mistake. But now, his message didn't give me butterflies. It didn't make me want to run back to him or rehash every painful detail of our breakup. It just made me roll my damn eyes. Sophie, of course, had the best reaction. She squinted at the message like it was written in another language. "So he cheats, ghosts, and publicly humiliates you, and now he wants to compliment your looks?" She scoffed. "Men are so embarrassing." I smirked, deleting the message without responding. Wait. Sophie snatched my phone. "At least leave him on red." So I did. And you know what happened next? He started spiraling. It started small. A like on my photos, the occasional "hope you're doing well" text that I ignored. Then he started watching my Instagram stories religiously. And finally, he cracked. One night, while I was out with Sophie and a couple of friends, my phone lit up with a notification. Ethan texted, "Can we talk?" I stared at it for a second, completely unfazed. Sophie, noticing my lack of reaction, peeked at my screen. "Wait," she gasped, clutching my arm. Is this the moment? Is this his I messed up speech?" I grinned. "Oh, it's coming." And as if on cue, Ethan texted, I miss you." I laughed, out loud, like full-on, head-thrown-back laughter. Because of course, he missed me. Men don't realize what they have until it's glowing in front of them, completely out of their reach. Sophie grabbed my phone. "Okay, what's the move? Do we leave him on read again? Do we hit him with the who's this?" I thought about it, about all the pain, the sleepless nights, the self-doubt he had put me through. Then I made my decision. I typed back 2 words, "Me too bad," and then I blocked his ass. Ethan's last-ditch attempt at reeling me back in was entertaining, sure. But the real victory? I didn't care. The old Meath one who once thought he was my forever would have crumbled the second he showed an ounce of remorse. But the new me knew that I deserved more than a guy who could throw me away so easily. More than someone who only wanted me when he thought he couldn't have me. And that, my friends, was the real glow-up. It wasn't the gym, it wasn't the revenge selfies, it wasn't even the satisfaction of leaving him on read. It was finally loving myself more than I had ever loved him. That's the part he could never get back. Blocking Ethan felt like slamming the door shut on a chapter I should have ended months ago, and for the first time in forever, I wasn't thinking about him anymore. I was too busy living. Sophie and I started going out more, not in a desperate look-at-me thriving way, but just because it felt good. Good to laugh, good to dance, good to wake up and not have my first thought be about some guy who didn't deserve me. And then came the unexpected plot twist. It happened on a random Friday night. Sophie and I were at a rooftop bar sipping overpriced cocktails when I noticed someone watching me from across the room. Tall, dark hair, sharp jawline, and when I tell you this man had main character energy, I mean it. Sophie noticed him at the same time I did. "Okay, hold up, who is that?" I pretended to sip my drink, eyes flicking back toward him. "He's still looking at you," Sophie whispered, barely containing her excitement. "Oh my God, babe, this is your redemption arc." I laughed, shaking my head. "It's not that serious." And then he made a move. He walked right up to me, confidence dripping off him like it was nothing. "Hey," he said, flashing a grin that could probably start wars. "I know this is forward, but I've been trying to think of a reason to talk to you for the past 10 minutes. Sophie, being the absolute menace that she is, physically stepped away to give me the stage. I smirked, raising an eyebrow. "And you couldn't come up with one?" He chuckled. Nope. So I figured I'd just go with honesty instead. His name was Nate, and well, Nate was about to change everything. Nate was different. Not just in a hes hot way, though. Trust me, he was hot. But in the way he treated me. He actually listened when I spoke, asked questions, remembered little details, no games, no mixed signals, just a guy who liked me and wasn't afraid to show it. Our first date wasn't some extravagant event, just coffee at a little indie cafe where we ended up talking for 3 hours. It was effortless, natural, and it made me realize just how low the bar had been with Ethan. Because with Nate, I didn't have to wonder how he felt about me. He made it obvious. I didn't feel like I had to prove my worth. He already saw it. It was a whole new experience, one I didn't even know I needed. Now, here's where the universe really delivered some poetic justice. A month into dating Nate, we were out for dinner when Sophie sent me a text. You're not gonna believe who just walked in. I frowned, looking at my phone. Me who? Her response came with a blurry, zoomed-in photo, and when I tell you my soul left my body, it was Ethan, with her, the blonde girl, the one he left me for. And the kicker? He looked miserable. Now, I could have ignored it, could have taken the high road if pretended I didn't see. But where's the fun in that? So, when Nate and I finished our dinner, we just so happened to walk past Ethan's table on our way out. And I looked flawless, hair done, dress hugging me in all the right places, hand in hand with the hottest man in the room. I didn't stop, didn't make eye contact, but right as I passed Ethan, I smiled, not at him, just to myself. And the best part, as I reached the door, I heard him say it. A quiet, bitter, almost pained. And that, my friends, was the moment I won. I didn't need to hear Ethan say it, didn't need to turn around, didn't need to gloat, because I felt it. That shift in the air, that realization sinking into him, deep, unavoidable, undeniable. He had lost me. Not in the way he probably expected. Not in a temporary shell move on but still miss me kind of way. No, I was gone. And he was stuck watching me walk away hand in hand with someone who actually saw my worth. It was the sweetest revenge. And the best part? I hadn't even planned it. Ethan, being the predictable man that he is, couldn't let it go. 2 days after that accidental run-in, he broke his silence again. Ethan texted, "Hey, can we talk?" I rolled my eyes so hard I almost saw my past self, but I wasn't her anymore. So I didn't answer. I let him marinate in his regret. A few days later, he tried again. Ethan texted, "I know I messed up. I think about you a lot." Ah, there it was. The delayed realization, the sudden clarity. The I took her for granted, and now she's happy without me epiphany. Too bad it came way too late. Sophie, sitting next to me, snorted when she saw the messages. "You gonna answer?" I smiled, tossing my phone aside. Nope, because the truth? I didn't need to. He wasn't worth my time anymore. See, people think the ultimate revenge is making your ex jealous, that if they want you back, you win. But that's not it. The real revenge isn't wanting them back either. And I didn't, not even a little. Not even when he tried again, 2 weeks later sending a pathetically enough, "I wish things were different" text. Not even when I saw him and the blonde girl had broken up. Not even when he finally admitted. Ethan said, "I regret everything." By then, his words meant nothing to me, because I had moved on. Not in a, I need to prove something way, but in the most powerful way possible. I was happy, without him, and that was the real victory. Months later, while I was curled up next to Nate, my phone buzzed. It was a random friend sending me a screenshot. It was from Ethan's Instagram, a new post, a throwback photo of us, captioned with one of those vague, regret-filled lines. Funny how you don't realize what you had until it's gone. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. But then Nate pulled me closer, kissed my temple, and murmured, "What's so funny?" I smiled, locking my phone. "Nothing," I said, because Ethan was nothing to me now, just a lesson I had already learned. And for the first time in forever, I felt free.